Welcome back to the Dynamic Life Cycles podcast. This week, we have Emmy Lan on. Emmy is one of the most well-rounded Canadian mountain bikers at the moment. Yes, she did win 2 under-21 Enduro World Series. She's also won Canadian downhill and enduro titles. But put all of that aside and we dive a bit deeper. We dive into her lifestyle, the way she balances her work, her studies and her racing, what she's got up to on the road, what she's learnt from her teammates, and where she's travelled and what she enjoys doing outside of racing. So I really hope you enjoyed the podcast as much as I did. And if you get a chance, like and subscribe. It really helps. Thanks. All right, Emmy, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm great. How did you cope with the rain today?
Well, I had school in the morning, so I actually enjoy going to school when it's rainy because I don't get FOMO that I'm missing out on biking as much. So it was good. And then did some admin stuff for biking and just chilled. I was at Prevost yesterday, so
okay.
Took a bit of a rest day.
I did see that.
Yeah.
Prevost is such an amazing mountain. Mm-hmm. And it's like, obviously there's so much history behind a lot of the trails over there, but yeah, those trails are insane.
Yeah, so. I think it's the best downhill in the world, but yeah, I'm a little biased. But I think it's like challenging enough that I'm like always scared when I'm riding Prevost, but like balanced with having fun. I think that's what you're looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I would have to agree. Like I've been over there a handful of times and it's always with a fairly big mixed group of riders, ranging from like, I think the first time I was there, I was with Matt Beer and then the Free Radicals and a few others. And you can only imagine how that trip went. And I remember chasing Matt Beer down the trail and just thinking, this is like insane. Yeah, like so crazy scary.
Yeah.
But then like chasing a couple of the other boys down, it was like, yeah, it's a full party train.
Yeah, it's so good. I love following like the local, like Magnus and Mark too. Whenever I ride with Magnus and Mark, I like am dropped within 0.1 second. But I just think they're so cool riding those things so fast because it's so steep too. I'm like, how are you going that fast and it's that steep? But
yeah, and it's cool. Like, yeah, well, the rest of the world is the same, so don't feel bad for that. Like, there's not many people that are going to keep up with either of those on their home trail. But yeah. How far from Prevost were you? Because you grew up in Comox?
Yeah, I grew up in Comox, so it's like 2 hours, I think. But when I was living on the island, I'd go down most weekends.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not many downhill trails or riding up island. I guess you could shuttle Mount Washington, but Prevost is definitely worth the drive, I think.
Yeah, I would have to think so. And then, I don't know, is there much downhill on like Sahalem and that sort of area as well, or not really?
I don't think so. I think it's mostly like enduro pedaling trails.
Okay.
Yeah, like Mount Washington does have some pretty good downhill tracks, and like I would ride those quite a bit in the summer, but yeah, definitely it's like nothing compared to Prevost.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's a pretty hard one to beat.
Yeah.
On the island anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to get you on because of what you just posted about transferring mainly into Crankworx and that side of things, but obviously what you've achieved in the past. And everybody understands and knows a lot about your results already, so we don't need to dive deep into those. But one of the first things I wanted to ask you about is growing up, you were always on bikes, started cross-country and then transitioned to cross. How was that? Like, where did that start? Like, why?
Well, both my parents are really big mountain bikers, and it's funny because I actually hated biking when I was really young. Like, and I think I hated it because my brother was really good. My little brother was really good, and he was way better than me. And so we'd go on like family rides, and I'd just get dropped. And I think I'm like pretty competitive, so that was like so frustrating. So I actually didn't love mountain biking when I was really young, and then what drew me to the sport was the racing. And so there's the Island Cup series.
Yeah.
And so my mom one day was like, "Hey, like just do this one race. Like, you'll have fun. And so I did the race, and it was so much fun. And I loved that environment of like pushing myself, and it's surrounded by a bunch of other girls, because I'd kind of only ridden with my brother and my brother's friends up until that point. So that was so much fun. And then from there, I was like, okay, I want to race. Like, this is awesome. And then I started to love biking, and I think it just grew from there. And then I did a few years of cross country, and then started doing enduro, and I was like, oh yeah, this is definitely where it's at. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think like the whole racing aspect is interesting, because I didn't know that side of it. I knew like you had sort of competed against your brother when you were younger. I didn't realize that the racing was the thing that like turned you from disliking to liking it. Mm-hmm. But it's like funny, I'm on the opposite end of that now. And not racing, not in the sense of hating riding, I still love riding, but in the sense of like racing a lot less. And I'm like, everyone asks, they're like, oh, like, what do you think of racing? I'm like, dude, I miss it so much. Less of the like putting everything on the line and just like taking your brain out of your head, and more about just like seeing and catching up with everybody and the whole social aspect. Mm-hmm. And it's quite funny, like you hear a lot of racers talk about that, and I think it's such an sort of forgotten about aspect of racing is like, yes, you're all competitors, but 90% of mountain bike racing, take XC out of it obviously, but most of mountain bike racing is against the clock. So as much as you're trying to go as fast or faster than everybody else, it's like such a social sport.
Yeah, and I think that's like, yeah, that's so true. And that's why I've come back like full circle to just wanting to do Crankworx and Trans Madeira, because I do just like love being at the events, and I love seeing everyone. And I don't know, like the World Cups are very like results based. Like you're going to like get a result.
Yeah.
Whereas Crankworx and like those things are a bit more on the like social fun, and then it's like a personal like mission of like, okay, what can I do? What events do I want to do?
Yeah, I feel like cool. It's kind of such an interesting thing, because I feel like over the years it's grown so much with Crankworx, and it's like, I guess it started more as like an exhibition event and something fun to do in the summer break of World Cups, and now it's like becoming its own thing. And I think it's sort of progressed over the few years with the European events, and now like we've got where are they this year? You got Whistler, Mount St Anne, and
Christchurch and Rotorua in New Zealand. So there's the first two, and then Silver Star, Whistler, and MSA. So it's kind of good places to go. yeah, very sort of, I guess, a couple local for you, but in the sense of like traveling to New Zealand and things like that as well. Have you been down there much? Obviously with the World Cups, but no, I've actually never been to New Zealand. I've been to
really?
Tasmania for the Enduro World Cup there, but I've never been to New Zealand, so I'm so excited to go. It's going to be awesome, I think.
Okay.
But it's my plan is so hectic. But I couldn't avoid it. I have to go to Christchurch in February, and I'm only there for 10 days, and I'm going to do all the events. And then I have to come back here for midterms, because I have midterms that week. So then I do all my 5 midterms, and then I go back to New Zealand for Rotorua March 11th. After my midterms are done for that Crankworx. So it's like an insane plan.
Yeah.
But I really wanted to go. So I made it happen. But
yeah, that's crazy.
It'll just be a busy few weeks.
With studying, what are you actually studying?
I'm in legal studies, and I'm doing a minor in communications as well.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So pretty important sort of stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not like you can just like push it aside for a little bit. And
yeah, no, I think, and like, I love school. Like I love studying the law, and I love my courses right now. Like I tell people and they're like, wow, that sounds awful, Emmy. But I think I just really enjoy studying. So
okay.
I also do want to do well on my midterm. So it's like focus on Crankworx, get all the events done, be a mountain biker, and then like fully switch, go back to being a student, and like lock in for that. So.
But it's probably a good little like separation, I guess, like between the two Crankworx events being so close together. If you have a good or a bad, like it separates you from that high and lows.
It's like a full reset. And I also like, that's been my biggest thing is like balance. And so if I like, in my mind, if I do not as well at an event at Crankworx, it's okay. Like I'm still a person. I still have like other things going on in my life to sort of fall back on. and it like takes a lot of the pressure off for me, which is nice. And it like works, I don't know, in the off season when I'm studying all day or like in class all day. I'm so excited to go biking. I'm so excited that I put everything into those rides, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do the most on this ride. And then during my ride, I'm like, okay, like I'm kind of over this ride now. I can't wait to go study. Like it's a good balance of things.
Yeah. It's really interesting you say that, because especially about the results and not like putting everything on that one result. I had a conversation or a podcast a couple of years ago with a clinical therapist, and they were talking about the exact same thing about the whole like identity and identity crisis. And the reason I had her on was based on like COVID and no one could go racing, and a lot of my friends kind of lost their identity because of that.
Yeah.
And it was like, she went deep into like not putting all of your eggs in one basket. And that's what I love about your program, in the sense of like, well, a couple of years ago, you kind of broke the internet, or the mountain bike internet, when you raced the 2 World Cups in one weekend. And it's like, there's so many cool things that you've done where it's just like, I'm trying to remember what you said in the video, something along the lines of, I'm just riding my bike, like it's not hard. And it's like, well, kind of. Like you're racing World Cups and you're qualifying for World Cups, and there's obviously a lot of pressure, but that refreshing attitude, I think, is quite cool.
Mm-hmm. I think I need that. And I think it does come down to like, it is just biking. And if you love something as much as like I love biking, you're just gonna like, you're gonna go somewhere with it. And I always like, I just have so much FOMO when I don't do things, which is like a huge problem. But I like being in Europe that year, I remember like our manager being like, "Hey, like, do you want to do the downhill? Do you want to do the enduro?" And I was like, "I want to do both." Like, I don't know. And in my mind, it was like, I can do both. Like the schedule lined up, so I could do both. Like, why can't I just do both? But I don't know. I think it is good to like tone it back sometimes. That was like a big weekend for sure.
Yeah, and then that was following a weekend of enduro as well, because it was like back-to-back weekends, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was insane.
But yeah, no, the balance is like really good. And I also I'm serving at a restaurant right now.
Okay.
And that like, I don't know, my parents and like some coaches are always like, why are you doing this? Like, why do you need this job as well? But serving is probably one of my favorite things to do, actually, because I go into that restaurant and I like can just fully switch off my brain. Like I don't have to be like a mountain biker or a student or like think about anything important. I just have to have these like mindless conversations, and that is like so refreshing for me. Like that is really good for me to like reset, and it also just makes me very appreciative of the life that I live. Like being a professional mountain biker is like one of the most privileged things I think in the whole world. Like it's insane. Like it's so cool. And so when I'm working as a server and I'm just kind of having simple mindless conversations, I'm like, wow, I'm so lucky.
Yeah, so especially it's so funny you say that, because especially in like North Van of all places, like pretty much sea to sky is the mecca of mountain biking. And it's like, it's quite funny for you to be like one of the best in the world at what you do. But then on the flip side, it's like you're out there just having fun and serving and things like that. Do you ever get noticed as a server? Like, do people come up?
This is so funny. The other day someone came in and he was like I also, this is so weird, but I go by the name Emily when I'm serving, so that because I just don't want to think about biking or school when I'm at work. But this guy came in and he's like, oh, like, how are you liking North Van, like, since you moved from the island? And I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, how does this guy know that? And I was like, oh, it's good. And he's like, oh, yeah. And like, how's the new Dreadnought? And I was like, oh, wow. It's
you
good.
really know.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, yeah, I've been following your races. And I think in North Van, there's a lot of mountain bikers. Like, people mountain bike. And there's just like not that many restaurants. So if they come into the restaurant I work at, most people, like, it's a small community. Tippy came in the other day and some of my other mountain bike friends come in. So yeah, I do see people.
Okay, awesome. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was like, it'd be kind of, for some people, I guess, for the guy that was asking all those questions, it'd almost be surreal because you see so many videos and like all of the Instagram and all of the, let's call it, fake world. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you're giving them a plate of food. It's like, it probably feels a bit strange to them because yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's one of those things like.
Yeah, I think so. And I think it is like good as an athlete and as like, I mean, just in the community in general to like remember that like athletes are more than just an athlete. Like they're like a real person. I think it's good for myself to remind myself of that as well.
Yeah.
That there's like more than just like my results or like the social media. Like I'm just a person living. I like to do things.
I was gonna ask that. Like, do you find, because I found this as a coach, coaching a lot of like younger riders and kids and things like that, and then also I guess older riders I found as well. But do you find it with like sort of, I don't know what the right word is, whether it's humbling or just remembering like there is other people out there in that sense? Yeah,
for sure. And I think that it's really important to remember that it is a privilege, like the whole being an athlete thing. Like I always think if the hardest thing I have to do today is intervals, like that is so lucky. Like that people would die for that. But I think it's hard, especially in the mountain bike community, because people get so wrapped up in the sport because it's so fun and it is very consuming. But then you just end up comparing yourself to other mountain bike athletes and people who are doing the same thing, which is really hard because everyone is cool. Everyone is doing really awesome things right now. In mountain bike industry in general, that it's really easy to compare yourself, but yeah. I think it is really important to like remember that like what you're doing is really cool and you are really good and you are like an amazing athlete no matter what you're doing. But it's hard when you're like comparing yourself all the time. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's interesting you say that because I know a lot of people that live in Squamish and the amount of conversations I've had with non-elite athletes mm-hmm. and just like your recreational, and they're like, oh, but I saw this person run up like the chief. Yeah. And it's like, well, yeah, but they're like paid to do that. Like, they're, and it's like, or yeah, obviously like you have like Remy Metellier or any of those guys doing like insane lines mm-hmm. on these insane rock features. And it's like literally something anybody can go and ride if they wanted. Crazy. Mm-hmm. But so yeah, it's crazy and interesting that you're almost like trying to step away from that comparison a little bit. Yeah, I love Squamish riding, but I don't think I could ever live in Squamish for that reason. Is because like I go outside in Squamish, I see like 10 professional athletes and like 14 people like doing intervals and sprints, and it's just like a lot. Yeah. And I think it is so easy to compare yourself these days with like social media and stuff. So it's cool. And I do just love, like, I just like to have fun. Like, I love biking in general. So I personally don't feel like I need to compare myself to anyone. But yeah. Nice. So talking about that sort of stuff, mentors and mentoring, I know you had a bit to do with like Ride Like a Girl and that side of things. What sort of brought that on? And I guess taking a step back from that, what sort of mentors do you have? Like, obviously you mentioned your parents and things like that. Mm-hmm. And where does that go? I mean, yeah, I think that mentors are like so important in the sport and very helpful. Ride Like a Girl, I was like 8 or not? No, maybe older, like 10. And Michael Dick was my first mentor. She was awesome. She was super good at cross country and cyclocross. And then Carrie Mark, I think, was my other mentor. And then I sort of swapped and I started mentoring some of the younger girls. And it's just a really cool program because you get to like learn so much and then you get to teach that and sort of pass that on, which I think is cool. And I also, when I was on the island, I did this event called Connecting Sister Shredders for a bunch of like the younger girls, because all of a sudden there was a bunch of girls in the valley who wanted to ride, but they like were only riding with guys and like they didn't really know how to like meet each other. So I had this event and there was like so many girls who wanted to do it. I had a huge wait list and it was awesome because we just like all got together and did some like skills, and I did some chatting with them, and they all made like really good connections with each other. And now they had a bunch of friends to ride with, which was awesome because that's really what I wanted growing up, was like a bunch of girls to ride with. But yeah, I think growing up I really looked up to a lot of the girls in the scene who are a little bit older than me, like Julia Long and Lucy Schick. They were so cool. And then there was also like I think I got pretty lucky with the girls my age. Like Gracie is my age, and Lily Boucher, and Lucy Van Eastern. Like I always had a bunch of really cool, fast girls to ride with, which is so awesome. I think it's important to surround yourself with cool people.
Yeah, definitely. And that was gonna literally be another one of my points, is like almost like the Canadian girls movement, whatever you want to call that. Like I spoke about it with Ellie when she was on the podcast, and it's like between like the girls you just mentioned and then a bunch of the cross country girls all in that same age bracket. It's insane. Like how, like, yeah, everybody just sort of came out of, like Ellie sort of mentioned, the COVID era or COVID boom of like your age bracket. But it's like crazy how many of you came out and you're all like shredding.
Yeah, which is awesome. And I think it's cool because now the girls who are like 14, 15, they're way faster than me. Like they're insane. Like I think our age group is really good. Like we worked really hard, and like it is cool to see like a bunch of really fast girls, but those younger girls now are like next level. Like they're so good and they're so young, which is insane to see. Like that's super cool. And at like downhill nationals, the U17 and U15 girls category was so fast.
Yeah.
And there was so many of them, which was so cool. Like I think it is just like exploding now. Like it's just growing so much, which is cool. Yeah,
it's interesting because I feel like the whole winter scene of like the girl side of it has been fairly big for a while, and that it feels like a lot of them are transferring into mountain biking. Obviously with more resorts and things like that taking on mountain biking and stuff like that, but it just seems insane like how many, and I didn't realize how many of you were all the same age until I started like doing the research on Ellie and then yourself, and then obviously with Gracie as well, as you mentioned. Like you're all within like what, 2 years of each other, a year?
Yeah, Gracie, Ellie, and I are all the same age, and Lily Boucher. And Lucy Van Eastern's a year younger. And then those cross country girls like Marin and Ella McPhee, they're all I think my age or a year younger. But yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on a little bit, I kind of wanted to ask you, like growing up on the island, you sort of mentioned that side of things, and now you've moved over to North Van. How did that feel? Like where I grew up, there was a pretty similar size, I guess, to probably Nanaimo in the way of population and things like that. Every time I went to a race, I sort of felt like everybody knew who I was to some degree. And by no means I didn't achieve what you've achieved so far, but in the sense of like turning up, local events, everybody knows and they want to chat and talk. Moving from there across to sort of Europe and traveling through Europe, how did that feel? Because I feel like back home, you're probably a bit of a big fish in a small fish bowl. And then going to Europe, it probably felt the complete opposite. How, like, did that sort of help, or did that change like your mentality a little bit? Or
yeah, that's a cool question. I think that going to Europe is just a big event in general for anyone when you're that young. And then also the fact that it's like a World Cup and it's this huge step up in your sport, and just trying to figure things out. But yeah, I think it's like mountain bikers in general are pretty nice, I think. So no matter where you go, you're going to like make friends. But at home, it's definitely like, oh, you know everyone, it's comfortable, it's familiar. And then Europe, it is way more foreign. And I think one thing I learned the last few years is that I cannot be in Europe for long periods of time. Like I just can't do it. And some of the race schedules were weird last few years where I had to be in Europe for like months on end, and it was just exhausting. And I think it is because I miss people I know well, and it's just less familiar. But I think the actual race scene in Europe is welcoming. Like it's nice, and people want to see you succeed, and they're excited to see you there. And again, there's like a lot of Canadians who are really good, so there's a lot of Canadians at the World Cups, so it almost feels like, I don't know, like I go to a race in BC and I see most of the same people that I will see at a World Cup because a lot of them are there. But yeah, it's definitely a crazy experience, I guess, going to Europe the first time.
So how, like, when you say it was a crazy experience, like, tell me a bit more about that. Like,
Yeah.
obviously outside of just like being at the races, like the traveling, all the experiences, like the lessons and things like that. Like, what are some of the crazy things that happened?
Yeah. Okay. Well, so the first year I was junior, and I went with Gracie to our first World Cup, and it was in Maribor. I think Maribor was both of our first World Cups. And I just remember it, like, it is really intimidating. Like, everything is huge. Everything is really steep. And I was like, whoa, okay. But it was cool having Gracie there because Gracie just has, like, insane confidence.
Oh, yeah.
And she's so good. She was just, like, hitting everything first lap. I was like, okay, I guess we're doing this. And so that was the first World Cup I ever did as a junior in downhill. And then I did a few more downhill World Cups that year. And then I did the EWS in Crans, Montana. And it was so fun. And I love that one. And so then I was like, okay, I want to do enduro. And then I went home and I worked, and I was like delivering pizzas, I think, then in high school. So I saved up all my money, and I was like, okay, I want to do all the EWSs. Like, that was the sickest race I've ever done. And I made a plan with Lucy Schick, and we were both riding Norcos then. So it kind of worked out. And it was really great having Lucy Schick because I think I was 17 then, so I didn't really know what I was doing. I booked flights, and I was like, I think we should go here and here and here. And she was like, okay, well, we need to like figure out how to get there and trains and stuff. So she helped me out a lot that year. And I kind of like joke, and a lot of my friends joke that I kind of have more of a free ball program. Like, I'm not great at like planning things. I'm not great at like programming. I've also like, I haven't had a coach in years. And so my off-season training is just a free ball program of what I think I need to be doing. And it works out most of the time. But it goes the same for Europe. I kind of just hope that it works out, and it does work out most of the time. So, yeah. And then, I mean, I only did 1 year of privateering really. And then Forbidden picked me up, and then I had people do stuff for me, which was really nice. So.
Yeah, it makes life a lot easier.
Yeah, it does.
How was that as a separation? Because I feel like it's kind of interesting in the sense of where enduro was, and then it sort of went almost a bit more privateer-like, and now I feel like it's like in this weird limbo. But then you compare that to the downhill, which is like full-blown factory, like almost motocross, supercross truck type level. Like, how, I guess the question is like, how do you prefer it? Like, do you prefer a bit more of that free flowing side of things, or do you prefer more of that, like, this is where we're going, this is where we're staying?
Yeah, I definitely think that I prefer a bit more like flow and freedom. But that being said, I think the level that the downhill World Cups are at, you can't really do that full free ball, free flowing thing. Like, you have to have a certain level of support so that you can focus on the racing because it's at such a high level. And I think enduro is also at a very high level, but I think it's different where you can totally just privateer and sort of make a more like trip out of it. And so I mean, it depends. I think if I was to go do a downhill World Cup season, I would want like a pretty structured support system and plan. Whereas if I was going to go do an enduro World Cup season, I think I would try and keep it a little more loose and keep it fun, because that's sort of what enduro is in my mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that's sort of the transition that I'm in now, is that I've been on the team for the last few years, and it is very structured and it's awesome, and I'm so grateful for it. But now I sort of wanted a bit more freedom to sort of do my own thing, and yeah.
And that's kind of where the Crankworx comes back in.
Yeah, and that's where this season is like, it just comes together bit by bit as I go, but it is coming together. And yeah, I just wanted to do a bit more of my own thing. Yeah. Which is cool.
Yeah, it's like watching like the breakdown and the recaps of all the enduros and things like that. It was interesting seeing like even like the Specialized van, and it's like just a regular sprinter versus like a full-blown truck and things like that.
Yeah, like I think if you go at the World Cups, the downhill pits are insane. Like there's so fancy and expensive looking.
Yeah.
And the Enduro World Cup pits are just less so. Like it's a bit more chill.
A bit more
like,
grassroots.
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very interesting. So talking about that, like you sort of prioritized a lot more of the Enduro over the past few years. Why was that? Like what drew you to the Enduro so much more?
I think it goes back to just, I love biking. Like I want to spend as much time as I can on my bike. And that was sort of what Enduro was. It was like a whole day spent on your bike. You get to ride so many different trails. And so I really love that. And I also just don't really like being scared when I'm biking, and downhill's really scary. Like every time I race downhill, I get to the bottom, I'm like, wow, okay, nice, I'm alive. Like that was really stressful and scary. Whereas Enduro, I'm not, I think at an Enduro start gate, I'm like nervous because I really want to do well. Whereas a downhill start gate, I'm like, oh my God, I hope I survive. So I think I chose Enduro a bit more because it was a bit more fun for me.
You actually think it's that much different on the trail? Like when you're on the trail?
Oh, I think so for sure.
Yeah?
Like if a downhill World Cup at the top of the track, I am like, I'm doing everything in my power to like keep myself calm because I'm like, this is so scary. Whereas Enduro, I'm like, I know I can ride the trail. Like I'm not like scared for my life. I'm just like, oh, I hope I do well.
Yeah, interesting. I've always had this like internal battle to what is like harder, because obviously on an Enduro, you're on a slightly shorter travel bike. I feel like you're going just as fast as a downhill bike, but less control.
Yeah, see, there's that element of like Enduro, you don't really know where you're going also. So it's that scary. But I think I don't think about those things as much, and I like to just trust your reaction. Trust my instinct, and the Enduro bike. And I don't think I push myself as much in an Enduro race. Like I'm not.
Yeah, that's true.
Probably because I don't know the trail as well. Like I don't know if there's a corner there. Like I can't remember. So I'm going to be a little more cautious.
Yeah, you can't ride at 110% the whole way down the
downhill.
trail.
Like I'm like, okay, I have to be like on my game and going as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So that's scary.
Yeah, that's a fair point. And like, when you break it down in that way of like how close you are to the edge and I guess like, it's pretty crazy. Although like I know, like I spoke about this in a couple of the other podcasts, but like the Squamish Enduro, there's like some pretty gnarly features in that sort of.
Yeah, Squamish Enduro is super. And like the World Cups are gnarly. The Enduro World Cups are, I wouldn't say it's like I'm just chilling. I'm definitely like still a little bit scared, but and there's that whole like the uphill part in Enduro. That's scary to me too.
That's scary on a whole different factor.
That's like not getting that in downhill. So
no, well you'd hope not anyway.
Yeah.
So talking a bit about that, you just mentioned you don't have a coach. What do you do to prepare for the World Cups and things like that? Like how do you prepare yourself? So I go on a pretty like how I'm feeling basis. But I have worked with coaches in the past. I worked, but like not for years now, but I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm trying to get strong and I'm trying to go fast. Yeah. And I'm not good at people telling me what to do. Like I just don't really work like that. It's better if I can just go to the gym and do what I need to do and go for a ride and do what I need to do. And I think that in my mind, if I'm riding as much as I can and I'm going to the gym a few times a week, it's like, that's what I need to do. Like, I don't know if there's anything more I can do. And so my training program is, I mean, there's no training program. I just do. It's pretty free.
Yeah. Free ball program. Right now I'm going to the gym 3 times a week. And I do reformer Pilates, which I think helps a lot.
Yeah.
And then I just ride as much as I can. And I like balance that, like pump track, downhill, trail riding. And
just everything.
Yeah, just everything. And like I like to ski. I like to do other things too. So, but I think now because I'm sort of focusing more on other like Crankworx, and more video projects sort of things, it doesn't need to be as structured. Whereas I know athletes do it probably would be good to have like a structured program. And like racing the World Cups, especially downhill and enduro, like you should be like trying to like stick to some sort of plan. But I think that's sort of the transition I'm in, is like maybe stepping away from the whole structured thing in general, like just following my own path a bit.
Yeah, definitely. And I know like seeing the way like the events and things, like you almost can't be super hardcore structured on one thing. Like if we're talking like hardcore downhill, like obviously you're going to do everything you can and so specific. But when you're talking about like Crankworx, as you say, you've got pump track, you've got like air downhill.
Yeah, there's
like
so
downhill,
many different
like,
things.
So I can fully understand just like getting on and riding and just like doing everything and enjoying it, I guess.
And I think the big thing too is when I have worked with coaches in the past, I get frustrated when it's like, okay, you have to do this today at this time for this long. And that's just not really how my life works. Like, I can't, I need to ride when I can ride.
Yeah.
And that changes on the daily. Like I'm not gonna be able to ride at 2 p.m. every single day.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to sort of have that flexibility. And I think that works really well for me, because then it goes back to the balance thing where like I have school and then I'm stoked to go riding, or I'm like working and then I'm stoked to go to the gym. So
have you spoken much to other riders that are like sort of Crankworx focused riders, like in the sense of like say Caroline or even like Ryan Gilchrist, or those sort of people that are, I know Ryan's obviously in the enduro, whatever you want to call that, but like have you spoken to them about what they're doing or?
Yeah, a little bit. I talked to Caroline last year a bit, and Caroline actually texted me the other day. She said something like, it's all in the math. And she's laid it out how I can win Queen of Crankworx. I was like, oh, nice.
That's classic Caroline too. Like,
yeah. But I mean, yeah, I think when I have talked to Crankworx athletes in the past, it is like, you just have to do everything. You have to be an athlete. Like you have to just be athletic. And I think the best way to attain that is just going to the gym and doing everything, like going to the pump track, doing long rides, going for runs, doing downhill laps.
Yeah.
I think Crankworx is like pretty broad in your skills and strength.
Yeah.
And so just kind of being a good athlete is helpful, I think.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. For sure. So how do you keep yourself motivated through winter? Like the past, what feels like month has been pretty wet. In saying that, like still getting out and riding and things like that, what else do you do? You mentioned skiing. Is there like, are you backcountry or are you just mainly in the resorts?
Mainly in the resorts. And honestly, I actually haven't skied a ton. I actually haven't skied at all this year, but I skied in the past. Skiing kind of scares me now. But I think that, I mean, I'm pretty busy. Like I think I am motivated because when I'm not biking, I'm sitting in a classroom or I'm serving. And so those things aren't necessarily as fun as biking, and I would rather bike in the rain than do those things. So
yeah,
it's like not hard for me to be like, oh nice, okay, we're gonna go biking. And I think there is a really good group of people on the shore and the sea to sky, and that definitely motivates me. There's definitely been days this winter where I'm like, yeah, I'm not riding today, like it's pouring rain, and my friends are like, oh, we're meeting in 10 minutes, and I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going biking in the pouring rain.
The FOMO kicks in.
Yeah, and I can't say no to things. So, I mean, there's that as well.
That's so true. Like, literally this weekend, it was like, I can't even remember what time on Saturday, but it was meant to be like 10 mils of rain in one of the hours. Yeah. And 2 hours before, one of the boys is like, oh yeah, we should go riding. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, well, I'm going riding. I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're going riding.
See, then, you can't really say no. So yeah, and I don't really mind the rain, riding in the rain, I guess. I think sometimes I get cold, but if you're with a bunch of people, it's not that bad. Like you get wet, but
yeah,
it's kind of just...
if the energy's there with the rest of the group, you kind of forget about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's like totally fine, and the trails are so fun here that I forget about it. And I always like go back to the thing, like if the hardest thing I have to do today is bike in the rain, that is so awesome.
Yeah,
I'm living a great life.
That's a true point.
Yeah.
So who and well, I guess two parts here. Like who are the people that you go to on the North Shore? Like you obviously grew up on the island, things like that you mentioned earlier. Living over here, who are the main people you're riding with over here?
So I ride a lot with John Moselle, and I ride a lot with Lily and Geza.
Yeah.
They're like, and I mean, they're super fit and they do huge rides. So
Yeah.
I definitely feel like I'm training when I'm riding with them.
Yeah.
And Reese Werner, because he was on my team. He's on my team. Reese is like on Lonsdale, so super close. And yeah, I mean, I feel like you can go to Seymour and there's tons of people all the
so
time.
many. Yeah.
And yeah, Magnus comes over quite a bit, and then I go over to the island to ride with Magnus.
Nice.
yeah.
Yeah. And then what's your go-to trail on the North Shore?
Well, I love the shore. Like, I've actually never ridden North Van until I moved here like a year and a half ago, and I was like blown away, like mind blown at how good these trails are. Like, I can't even put it into words. I don't know. That's an awful question. I love Seymour. I love Frome. I definitely Cypress. I don't know if I love Cypress. I think because I grew up riding Prevost.
Yeah.
I'm like, ugh.
Cypress kind of scares me a little bit with the way it's built.
Yeah, same.
Like,
I don't feel like I'm a good rider when I'm riding Cypress ever.
Yeah,
So,
like I know a bunch of people love it and people are gonna hate on me for saying this, but like I'm a racer and I love going fast, but yeah, Cypress definitely scares me.
Yeah, the thing is that you kind of have to go fast on Cypress, and it's so scary to go fast. Like
it's full commitment.
Yeah, it is full commitment, but you can't go slow because the trails aren't necessarily like super technical or hard. They're just, you have to go fast. Like that is what you have to do, but it's really scary to go fast. So I don't know if I would say I love Cypress, but
let's call it the training mountain.
Yeah. I mean, I ride it. So
yeah.
But yeah.
So, one of the questions, like I was talking to a couple of different people about like you coming on, one of the things that came up quite a bit was being that you're slightly shorter as a rider. How do you find that with like the bigger enduro bikes and obviously the downhill bikes? Downhill bikes, I find they sort of make them now for shorter riders in the sense of the mixed wheel and things. With enduro, are you full 29 or are you running mixed or?
Yeah, I have mixed on all my bikes. And that does definitely help. I think the Dreadnought, I have the Druid and the Dreadnought and the Supernaut, and the Dreadnought is definitely, I think, the biggest. Like, I feel like it's the biggest for me.
Yeah.
But it's my daily bike right now. Like, I love it. And I think you kind of just get used to it. Like, I don't know like, maybe my bike is too big for me, but I'll never know because it's just, like, I am on the smallest bike they could make. So it doesn't, I don't know if
you don't have like almost an option to know the
like
opposite.
It's not, I don't know. Yeah. I actually don't know what it would feel like.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. It's sort of one of those things that, people were, or one of the people that I was talking to was like, oh, like ask her like what she does to change or like, but I guess if you don't know, like you don't know.
Yeah, and I honestly, I also will admit this, I am really bad at like bike mechanicking and knowing things about my bike. So I think my bike feels amazing to me, and it feels like it.
Have you had the chance to do much testing and things like, obviously with the downhill team and I guess when they were developing the downhill bike and that side of things, were you a big part of that?
Yeah, we did lots of days testing. I feel like I mostly did testing on the Druid and Dreadnought when we were racing it on the World Cups. And that was sort of a big transition. And people were like, and I still don't know what the right answer is, but do I race the Druid or do I race the Dreadnought at the World Cups? And in BC, I always think that I need to race the Dreadnought because it has more travel, it's a bit bigger, and the trails in BC are pretty tech and pretty gnarly. And they're pretty, like, there's not many uphills. Whereas in Europe, when I was racing on the Druid, I did so much better. I got smoked on my Dreadnought, and I think it's because the Druid is a bit smaller, so it's like easier to get through those like really tight Euro turns, and the World Cups in Europe for some reason go uphill now, so it was like a lot easier to pedal the Druid on like uphill sprints in the stage. So yeah, it kind of depends, but I got so turned around one year because I was like, I don't know what bike to ride, like I don't know what's going on, but again, I think it's just like it's the rider, not the bike. But
I think so as well. Like,
you want to feel good on your bike.
Yeah, I think yeah, it does definitely come down to a lot of personal preference. And then when you're overseas, do you travel with both the bikes or do you just travel with one?
Well, yeah, I have my downhill bike and then one trail bike, but
Yeah.
I think I was like, okay, I gotta just pick a Dreadnought or the Druid. I can't bring both because then I have the option of, do I ride this one or do I ride that one?
Yeah, okay.
And I think I didn't want to think about that. Like, I just need to focus on, like, it doesn't matter what bike I ride. But I shouldn't be swapping back and forth, I think, all the time.
Yeah.
And the thing is that, like, both bikes are so good. Like, the Druid and the Dreadnought are both insane. But I guess it would just depend on what I'm riding or the track I'm riding. But.
Yeah, the style of the mountain type thing.
Yeah.
For sure. And you kind of mentioned a few of the teammates and things like that you've had, and you still have, I should say. What are some of the cool things you've learned from them?
Well, I love my teammates. I think they're awesome. Like if you ask me who inspires me, that like Alex Storr, Reese Werner, Magnus Manson, Connor Fearon, I think I got so lucky. Like they're just the coolest people. And I think what I learned from them the most is the whole balance and have fun. Like we used to do so many other things other than just racing when we'd be in Europe. And I think that was really important for me to just get my mind off racing. And that like, yeah, they are all really well-balanced people and have really cool other ambitions and personality, which is awesome. I remember the first time I went to Europe with the team, we went to Monaco after finale, and that was awesome. And then we went to Dorno, this like dirt bike track outside of finale.
Yeah.
And so the boys all like loved it, and they're like, "Oh, Emmy, just do it. Like it'll be fun." I was like, "Oh, okay." That was really scary. And then I can remember that our team manager Dupal was like, "Don't go. Like you're gonna hurt the athletes. Like you guys need to just chill," because we had Leo Gang the next weekend, and our chef also Travis. He was awesome. He was insane. He was like ripping the track. He must have crashed or something and hurt his leg. And then Alex Storr crashed and hurt his leg really bad. And so we get to Leo Gang and Alex is like limping and Dupal was like, "What is going on? Like, what happened to you guys?" And then secret came out that we went to Dorno. But
yeah,
like just doing things like that was really fun. We went to Venice that year too in between races. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think Connor and Alex and Reese and Magnus, they're all really cool people. So
yeah, they're all so down to earth and just friendly.
Yeah, and they're just, yeah, they're so nice. And I think it's really cool. All of them have such unique styles. Like if you watch Connor, well, and it's weird because like half my team is on flat pedals, but Connor and Alex, like, and Reese and Magnus, they all look so different on a bike, but they all look so good, which is so cool.
Yeah, like between Connor and then Reese, like,
yeah,
they're like so some of my favorite riders to watch.
Same.
Like,
yeah,
it's quite, yeah, it's insane. That whole gamble, movie segment with Connor.
Yeah,
like that's like one of my favorite all-time movie segments. It's so good.
Everyone says that. Yeah, and it's really nice because when I first got on the team, I was 18, I think, and they're all like a bit older than I am, and just being the only girl, I was like, oh, this is a little scary. And our first trip was to Medina in Australia. And I remember like being in the airport, being like pretty nervous before that trip. Cause it was like my first team, first like time going to Australia, all these new people. I was like, oh God, this is really scary. But yeah, I couldn't have asked for better people for that experience.
Yeah. I think they understand like what to do, when to do it. And then when somebody new comes into that fold, it's like there's no rejection.
Yeah,
almost.
they're
it's
just
like they're so
the
inclusive.
nicest people.
Yeah,
yeah, and I did learn a lot. Like I don't think I ever GoPro'd until I got on the team, and then I remember being in Australia and Reese and Alex and everyone was GoProing, and I was like, oh, I should probably be doing this. And then like same with like checking lines. Like I learned so much from them on track walks, and I would never track walk an enduro race before I was on the team, but Alex track walks like every stage.
Wow.
Yeah, which is like insane. Sometimes I can't do it because I'm just tired, but Alex and Reese both have their like walking sticks, and at every race they'll like walk every stage. Yeah,
which is insane to think, like to be able to walk that far a couple of days before then racing.
Yeah, like the day before. Sometimes Alex would be out there hiking, and I'm like, man, and so sometimes I do it with him on the shorter stages, and it's good because you can like see your lines, but and it definitely works for Alex. And it's cool. Like, expose all his secrets, but he used to like draw out the like tracks on paper, which is cool. And I think that like really works for him, but it's interesting how I kind of learned throughout the years that I don't know if that works for me, because then I'm like thinking way too much about the track at the top of an enduro stage, and then I'm like messing up on the stage. Whereas if I'm just riding how I ride and like flowing with the trail, I do so much better, I think.
Yeah, I feel like I'm somewhat the same. Like
you would rather just like flow with the trail.
Yeah, like I definitely want to know my points.
Yeah.
So like I definitely want to know if I'm coming to a hairpin and I need to change gears, or like let's say it's a 4-minute stage, but there's only like 5 major features, whether it's like a hairpin or a drop or whatever. The rest of it, I know I can ride at like 95 to 98% of my skill ability without like freaking myself out. Yeah. And then, like it's interesting because then, one of my other really good friends is like the same, in the sense of like he needs to be able to see all the different things, watch the video 10 times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And like, I don't know, I feel like you just get too far in your head.
Yeah, I definitely get too far in my head. I think it's just a unique thing for each person. You got to do it differently your way. But yeah, I learned a lot from my teammates, though. For sure.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So I guess before we start to wrap this up, I've completely mental blanked on what I was going to ask you. At the top of the trail, like you mentioned at the top of the trail, you sort of were trying not to get too much in your head. What are some of the things you do to break that down?
Well, I like to do handstands at the top of a race run. Gotta like loosen things up a bit, flow. I also, this just sounds so bad, but I have no warm-up routine. Like I get to the top of a racetrack and I kind of just do what I think I need to be doing and what feels right. And I also, this is another weird thing, but I used to get way too hyped up. And I think this is classic. Like I think a lot of athletes eventually learn this, but I used to listen to like, I don't know, rap or like some, I don't know, EDM. And I just get way too hyped at the top of tracks and then just explode. And so I started listening to classical piano music.
Okay.
Because I love piano. And I used to play a lot as a kid. My dad is a really good piano player. And so listening to the classical piano sort of like brought me back to that, which was cool. And yeah, that kind of made me a little more calm. So I think my main goal at the top of a race is just to like find some peace and calm. Yeah. To sort of like keep me locked in rather than like hyping myself up. I think I'm like a pretty hyped up person in general. I don't need to be more hyped up. So yeah, just trying to be calm. I think is the main goal. Yeah,
interesting. Yeah, it's sort of like trying to level and clear your head, I guess, more than like actually, as you say, like you don't need to be any more amped up. You're about to drop in.
Yeah, like I don't think anybody at the top of world track in my mind should be a little bit like hyped up and like anxious and like nervous. Like I don't need more. Yeah. I need to like step back a little bit and just like chill out. But yeah.
No, that's fair. Yeah, it's interesting like hearing all the different sort of starting procedures of like what everybody does differently and how they do it, and like talking to like Gracie and the music she's listening to, and then obviously you mentioning what you're doing, and just like so many different aspects of it. It's like it's cool to hear everyone's mental prep sort of thing with that. So yeah, well, we're almost at an hour, so thank you for coming in and
thank you. It was fun
setting everything up, and it's it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Cheers.
Awesome.